What's up guys? Today we're going to fly a folding arm camera drone. Hey everyone, I'm Nate.
And I'm Abby.
Popeye's at the house because they have some errand running to do, but Amelia's up here with us. We're the RC Sailors. Welcome to our RC family. Today we're going to test this folding arm camera drone. It's called the JD-20. It has a longer name. It's very hard to pronounce, so I'll do you a favor. I'll have it linked in the description box below for you guys to check out for yourself. This is about $60. It comes with everything you need to fly except for your phone, some type of mobile device, and a few AA's for the transmitter. I'm excited to fly this for you. It's not super windy. It's kind of gusty. It's a light breeze with strong gusts coming in. But you know what? Today's Monday and we're outside flying and I couldn't be happier. Just a quick little update for you guys before we fly this. I wanted to let you know that some of you already know this, some of you don't. We do have a few hats left on our eBay store. I'll have that linked in the description box below as well. And the good news is I was able to get the shipping cut down from about $7 to $9 shipping, somewhere between like $4 and $5 shipping. So it makes it a lot more reasonable now. Really happy about that. So
the sun is fun today.
It's crazy, isn't it? We got the clouds, and then keep in mind these are made by hand, one at a time, by a local friend of ours. So you're definitely supporting local when you buy these, shipped out directly from our place. So it helps a lot to support us with those hats, but also got some more things listed on eBay. So anyway, let's fly this and see how it does. We should be saving directly to the micro SD card that is plugged into the drone, and Abby has her app recording, the screen recording going. So let's try a few things. Let's try down and out to start the motors. That worked. Oh, that right stick is kind of sticking though. I want to press auto takeoff. Oh, I stopped again. If you don't push anything, that's trim. So we are just going to throttle up. Now with this wind, it should be very interesting to see if it can keep up with the wind, but I'm just going to hover here for a minute, make sure it can do that. That's something you guys want to do, even if you're kind of an experienced pilot. You want to kind of test the waters or test the wind speed and see if you're able to fight that wind before you go flying off like a rocket at the beginning of your flight. Looks like we're going to be able to fight that wind, so we're okay. Now this is just an altitude hold drone. There's no visual positioning or anything, but so far so good. Everything seems to be going pretty well. I'm flying line of sight mainly because if I look down at my screen and then look back up, you know, by the time I let go of that joystick, it could be 50 to 100 feet away. So with this strong of wind, I just want to fly line of sight a lot with glancing down to the FPV quality. So you guys are kind of seeing the FPV quality before me in a sense, because I'm not really getting a chance to look down at it very often, but I am now that the wind died down some, and it's good, not great. We can say that for sure. Good, not great. Definitely falls into the toy grade category, and we don't want to fly away very far. So I'm just going to get the drone to point back toward us. We'll fly in a little bit, see if we can record us. And you guys see the props in that FPV shot right now? Well, that's because I have the camera angled up a little bit too high probably. You can manually adjust that when the drone is on the ground. You can adjust it up or down some. And so I would definitely angle that down just a little bit more to get those props out of the view. But some people like that. Most people don't though. This has a lot of lights going on. There's white headlights on the front, very bright. I can see those even here in the daytime. And then I noticed when it was on the ground, underneath we have a red light on the back, and then the motors have clear plastic around them, and I think it's green on the back and blue on the front. Yeah, that's right. Kind of hard to see though because it's so bright out, but in the late evening, that would look really good. Really good. Now the interesting thing about the way this drone charged, I thought, was that the LED indicator to let you know when the battery's charged or not was on the battery, not the USB charge cable. Most of these toy grade drones, oh, they were getting some strong wind, so I gotta fight that back. Most of these toy grade drones, the LED indicator to let you know when the battery is charged or not is on the charger, the USB cable. But on this one, there was a red light on the battery, and then when it was done charging, that light went off, so it's kind of cool. Well, it's easy to fly. Even in this wind, I have no issues. I'm not really touching the throttle much at all. We'll fly up some though, okay? Let's fly it up a little higher. This is a drone after all, so we might as well fly it up a little bit higher. I tend to enjoy flying at that height though, you know? I like to see the horizon and everything. I don't know, that's when I'm flying a drone like this, that's about where I like to fly. If I can't be looking at the screen constantly, I like to fly a little lower because I like to see the ground and stuff when I'm flying. But right now it still looks pretty good. You know, this being a toy grade drone, it's not something that we want to fly away super far. I say the same thing for all these. They're all going to have the same range. Fly within line of sight, close enough that you can still see orientation of the drone, and you're going to have a pretty good FPV signal. There's no sense in testing its range because we know it's not going to be great. Once you fly it out of line of sight where you can't see the orientation anymore, you're going to start losing your FPV signal, and then shortly after that you'll lose the drone signal. And since this doesn't have return to home or GPS functionality or even visual position hold, it will fly away in the wind. You know, the altitude hold, the only thing that's really automated on this drone is the hover height. But this had a pretty good sized battery, so I think that the flight time is going to be pretty good on it. And it does fly really well. I have no issues with the way this is flying. And I just glanced down at my app and I can see a little bit of Wi-Fi FPV latency, so it's not doing awesome. But for a toy, I mean, this is light years ahead of where it used to be just a couple years ago. All right, now the wind keeps pushing me back, so I want to try to find my rate buttons, but because these buttons are not really labeled up on the top, I'm just going to play around with them. Yeah, I could have read the instructions before this flight. Yeah, I probably should have. But I was trying to beat this wind and I wanted to get this drone up, and the only buttons that are not labeled are the shoulder buttons. So let's press them together and have some fun figuring this out. So top right first. That was a flip button because it just did a flip. So I'm going to press the left one because that's probably our rates. Yep, and now we're in rate 2. Woo! And I'm fighting this stronger wind a little bit better.
Yikes, it's cold.
Yeah. The drone looks good. It's pretty quiet. I'm going to get close and fly and let you guys hear those motors because it's nice and quiet as far as an outdoor drone goes. It's not doing bad in all this wind especially, right?
Yep.
We should have a higher rate, I think. Yep, 3 rates. So yaw doesn't seem to be affected too much, but the pitch and roll of the drone is. So now we can cruise right along really fast, so fast that it actually loses a little bit of altitude when we're at full pitch. So there we go. Into the ground a little bit, but that's definitely fast enough to fight any wind that we would be flying in. Now, FPV probably doesn't look great when we're flying at those speeds, so a drone like this really is just meant to be flown in kind of lower rates. I like rate 2, gives me some comfort knowing I can fight the wind. Now I have a couple other shoulder buttons, Abby. I'm going to press those and see what happens. We've got one up here on the right side. Oh, and that's instant motor kill, so I am going to go grab the drone. Well, now we know the top right shoulder in the back is the emergency stop button, and I don't like the location of that because that's an easy spot for you to bump. I mean, I would probably disable. I don't know. That's a bad spot. Let's see what the back left one does. Doesn't seem to be anything that I'm familiar with. I'm holding it, and even with holding it, could be a camera functioning button because there's no other camera function button on the transmitter, so that's probably what that is. But we have camera control within the app too. Let's fly a little higher. Okay, pretty day to be flying. Nice clouds, pretty blue sky. Still a little cold. We're pushing like almost 50 degrees Fahrenheit, but the wind is really cold. Yeah. So the sun feels great. When the wind dies down, it feels really good. When the wind picks up, ooh, it's kind of cold. Yeah, this has a good flight time. I think it was like, I'm just guessing because I glanced at it really quickly, about an 1800 milliamp LiPo battery. Now, what we're going to do, guys, at the end of this flight, at the end of this video, we're going to land the drone and show you everything that comes in the box. So if you're interested in this drone and you're thinking about buying it, you'll want to stick around for sure and see everything that we show you that comes in the box. I like it when the wind dies down.
I would offer to fly this, but my contacts are so messed up right now. Everything's blurry, and hopefully the video's not blurry.
If it is blurry, we'll just rely on the camera of the drone a lot. So the app is pretty basic. You guys can see that with the screen recording, and I'm totally hands-free right now with this light breeze coming in. It's kind of nice that I can take my hands off the controls. But the app is basic. You have rates, camera functionality. You could fly this drone without the transmitter if you just had your phone with you and the drone for whatever reason. But I like flying with a transmitter myself. There's a couple other buttons too. We have headless mode and return to home. We might as well hit them since we're out here and we have this long flight time. So let's hit return to home first. And it's going the opposite direction. That's because this drone is just a toy grade drone. You can you can calibrate these, set them down on the ground, do the calibration process, and then sometimes they work a little more accurately, but in this case it definitely was not working very well. And the reason they do that is because they put these little compasses on these drones basically, and they kind of do their best to keep orientation. And if you're flying away farther out and you lose your own orientation, theoretically you could hit that return to home, and what it should do is kind of beeline in a straight line like I'm flying now right back to you. But what it essentially does is keeps going behind you in that line. And so if you're a new pilot and you hit return to home on a toy grade drone, I almost guarantee you're going to crash the drone or lose the drone. I really don't like when they have those return to home functions on there. But there are very rare cases where it could come in handy if everything works perfectly. Now I do like headless mode on these toy grade drones because it can be fun on the ones that spin really fast. So I want to turn it on right now. I'll turn on headless mode. And it's not going to work, I know. Yep, see the controls are opposite because the return to home didn't come back to me. So basically I'm pushing away for it to come back to me. I'm pushing, yeah, I can't even explain it. But if I give it full yaw control and I just let it spin, 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 and I still give it one direction, it all works. See how it's rotating and flying in that direction? That's because headless mode is on, but right now it needs to be recalibrated, and I think I got a text, I think that's what that was. It needs to be recalibrated, and then maybe it would work a little bit better. But again, the headless mode on something like this, I just don't see it coming in super handy. Really, headless mode and return to home, their best time you can use that on a drone is a drone with the GPS functionality and just a little bit more advanced. Why do they do that? Do they do that just for sales, yeah. Sales to for trick people that don't understand that there's no GPS, so it's not truly going to return to home. Well, I got a question for you guys while this is flying. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Have you ever bought an RC product? Ever? And it's okay, don't be embarrassed by answering this. Have you ever bought an RC product, be it a drone, a plane, an RC truck or car, anything, a boat even, without doing research on it beforehand? And I don't care if it's a $20 thing or a $1,000 thing. Have you ever bought one without watching a review on YouTube or try to find a written review online or something? You know, at least looking at like Amazon reviews, which can be a little bit biased, we're learning. But have you ever bought an RC product without doing any research on it at all? Because I don't. I always, even video games and stuff, I buy stuff after I've done research, watch reviews of people that I can trust, that sort of thing. I know a lot of you guys watching our videos probably would only buy something if we give it 2 solid thumbs up. But there are some of you that might be tuning in, you're new to the channel, or maybe you're not even subscribed at all watching this video, and really everyone watching, I want to know. You bought something without watching a review. Now this is a very long flight time. My eyeballs are all messed up and they're frozen now. Oh, I'm sorry. Struggling. Abby. Well, I'll tell you what, this is definitely a long flight time, but because you're having some contact struggles, let's land this. Do you know what we're up to so far on the flight 12 time? 12 minutes. 12 minutes, that's really good. I'm guessing we'll probably get at least 5 more minutes of flight time on this battery, if it is about an 1800 milliamp battery. That's impressive because it is cold today. It is, yeah, it's a little chilly. So, all right, well, for your sake, Abby, and I think everyone won't mind on this, we'll make an exception today. We're gonna just land this, we'll talk about the stuff that comes with this, and we'll wrap this up. Nice, easy landing. There you go, very smooth, not bad at all. Well, let's talk about a few things here. This is kind of a good time to wrap this up because we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can do the wrap up of the video and we can kind of show you everything that comes in the box at the same time, because there are a couple things that I love about this, a couple things that I really don't like at all. Now, I do like that it folds. Everything folds up. I'm not opposed to a folding arm drone at all these days. I think it's really nice, especially when it really does make a size difference. So that's really cool. I like that that folds up. I like the lights on here and I like the button on the top. There's even a light in there too. So all the lights on this drone did look really good. I do like that you can adjust this camera angle up and down, and we have a micro SD card slot down here. So some of the footage that you guys have been watching was saved to our Class 10 16 gig micro SD card that we bought just for little drones. Pretty cheap. Then the battery. Formatted before this video. And formatted, that's right. Yeah, we always format them every time. The battery's a little bit warm, but not hot, so it's okay. Okay, all right. I wanted to see. I think it's 1800 milliamps. That's right. Now the downside is that's got a proprietary casing on it. So for this drone, I mean, when you're buying a $60 drone or something, I guess that's okay. as long as they're readily available, which in this case I'm not 100% sure if they are. But
Makes a good hand warmer.
Good hand warmer. And the flight time on that battery is obviously very, very good. So we didn't even push it to the end. Now, the transmitter is probably where it gets a little bit weak. Now, I like the style of this transmitter, and obviously a lot of companies do because we see it more and more and more these days. I like that these things are labeled return to home and headless mode, but the trim functions are too. The downside is that the shoulder buttons up here with the main functions that we were guessing while we were flying are not labeled, especially the emergency stop. I wish I'd have known, because what if I was 30 feet higher than what I was and it wasn't over tall grass? That might have broken it.
Start hitting buttons that high.
I guess. Now, generally these joysticks feel pretty good, but in this case, when you push down and out to start the motors, look, the right stick gets stuck. Now when you're flying it doesn't, but in that very specific movement, down and out, and then you let go, see, it gets stuck. And then it feels kind of grimy and just, maybe that would eventually wear out, but that's definitely worth pointing out because I don't like that. These antennas on top are fake, as usual, for a toy grade drone. I kind of wish they were not there because you could just break those off. There's no antenna in them though, there's no wire in there, so fake. 3 AA batteries. It all comes compact in this nice little box, believe it or not. I mean, the drone itself, when it's unfolded, is bigger than this. The drone, the transmitter, all of it comes in that box. So just goes to show you that the folding arm system does actually work. It comes with prop guards, so if you're a new flyer, you use the prop guards. They're like training wheels for new pilots. Little screwdriver, 2 spare props. The nice thing about these is that they're actually those little folding props. I mean, that's mechanically kind of advanced for a propeller. So that's really nice that you get one of each direction. Here's your USB charge cable. That's what charges the battery that is warming Abby's pocket and hand right now. It's just full-size USB to micro USB, and I think it took about an hour to charge. In summary, I do like this drone. It doesn't have enough major points that are negatives for me to complain about and tell you guys not to buy it. Now, I do think there are probably better drones that you can buy for your money, and that's where our channel comes in handy. If you're a regular viewer, you're already going to know what those drones are. If you're not a regular viewer, the cards that you saw popping up at the top of the screen, those we manually put in there, and they're recommended drones and relatively the same price point and functionality. So if you're shopping for a drone, you have about $60, $70, $80 or so burning a hole in your pocket, and we can help you pick one out. Amelia is waking up, so we're going to wrap this video up. Overall, it's a good drone, but there's just better out there for your money. The flight time was amazing. I think the hobby in general and drones in general are heading in the right direction because we're getting nice long flight times out of these, not 5 or 6 minutes like we used to about a year ago, or less actually. So I like that a lot. Overall, it's decent, and if you like it, we'll have a link in the description box below. One more shout out before we go get Amelia, to the hats. We don't have a lot left on eBay, and we got the shipping costs down. So they're almost as cheap as we could probably get them out to you guys with that method. And then also you'll notice our merchandise store is now linked. If you just scroll below our video, you see t-shirts that have the RC Saylors logo on them. Those are ours, we put those there. So if you're interested in some new RC Saylor merch, we have those there too. But the locally made hats are on our eBay store, linked in the description box below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye!